Welcome to the 2014 AUA SUCPD Urology Program Director's Update called New Challenges and New Changes. I'm Byron Joyner from the University of Washington, and I'm here with my co-chair and faculty, Mike Coburn, who's from Baylor College of Medicine. And we're all here in the beautiful Linthicum, Maryland at the AUA headquarters. And I hope you had a safe trip, Happy New Year, and Happy Martin Luther King Day weekend. I'm going to start off with a quote from Joseph Dana Cotton, "He who dares to teach must never cease to learn." And I think this really does encapsulate our weekend here. This weekend is all about the changes, the next accreditation system, promotion, progression, professionalism, and doing better and learning best practices. The Outcomes Project, which started in 2001, is over now, and we're into the next accreditation system: better evaluation, milestones, institutional accreditation, and program accreditation. And Mike and I have categorized this weekend into those three categories, and we're hoping that you'll learn a lot about each of them and ask questions about all of them. This is a really exciting time. It's a time for change. It's an exhausting time, and change brings a bit of both. We realize that you all could be doing many other things this weekend, being with your families, skiing, perhaps where you can find snow, other places that you could be, other things that you can be doing, but I think there are really two major objectives for being here this weekend. The first is really to learn or relearn those things that we did not perhaps learn in medical school or residency about leadership and managing people. And I think we've set up several different topics that will help us with that. Remediation and conflict. We'll be talking about leadership opportunities, and feedback are some of the other topics that we will be dealing with. And the second objective really is to build a urology program director community, GME community. I think that our jobs can be a lot better if we help each other to find best practices, and if we kind of coordinate to communicate with each other. So meet each other today. Please wear your name badges and introduce yourselves. Let everybody know where you're from, exchange numbers so they can find out and learn more about what everybody else is doing. Mike and I certainly want to thank the American Urological Association for hosting this event, and the SUCPD for their gracious support of this event, and they collaborated well enough for this event, just for you. So this weekend is for you. We want you to learn about a lot of things, ask a lot of questions. The only question that is not asked is the only stupid question. And there are a lot of ways of learning. There's reading, there's listening, there's looking at websites, and there's conflict, and there's arguing, and I think all of those should be used this weekend, if we can, to learn from each other. And get involved. There are going to be some workshops. We really do want people to participate, play the role that they're supposed to be playing, and really get into participating in what we'll be doing. I'd like to thank Dr. Elspeth McDougall, who's the Chair of Office of AUA Education, and her staff, including Helen Schofield, who's in the back there. Please raise your hand, Helen. Katie McNeely, who's the Education Specialist in Programs and Compliance. Raise your hand there. Perfect. And then I don't see Caitlin Rubright. Is she around? Okay. She's the Convention and Meeting Specialist. Also, TJ Thomas in the back there, who is our IT person. We do have some videographers who are recording this event. I'd also like to thank the Hyatt Place for hosting us there. They have a wonderful breakfast. And your families, too. Please don't forget to thank your families for allowing you to be here and to learn. I'm going to go very quickly over some housekeeping rules, and I'm going to invite Mike Coburn up to introduce our illustrious faculty. Please wear your name badges. That will get you at the entrance, and also will allow people who may not know you to know you better. Disclosures are on page 7 in your binder here, which is very thick this year. If you're carrying a cell phone or beeper, please silence it to respect the participants in the audience. The restrooms are to your right, out of this door and just behind this hall here. And please complete your evaluations. They're new this year, and they're more specific to what we're doing for education. and you have to fill your evaluation forms in order to get CME credit. So we talked about the disclosures and the itinerary. Oh, and the goals and objectives are to discuss an overview of the next accreditation system, determine professional development and leadership opportunities, to learn about institutional accreditation, clear visit, including challenges in the clinical learning environment, to analyze common challenges program directors face, and to identify best practices. And then, of course, there's one that's not on here, but ask questions, because I think that'll help your own development and will help others. Mike?
Thanks, Byron, and welcome to all of you. If Byron's restroom instructions weren't clear, when you go out, just make a left at the giant stone penis. Okay. I mean, where else can you say that, really? Okay. Well, it's my pleasure to introduce the faculty. We've got a great faculty here, and I think that the interaction really should be excellent. First, let me just say that it's really been a pleasure to work with Byron to put the program together. Byron co-chaired the last 3 combined department chair and program director workshops, and they were terrific programs that he did with Mike Cook, so we really were fortunate to have Byron's leadership with this program as well. Again, I'd like to add my thanks to that was mentioned for the AUA and the SUCPD for being willing to really focus specifically on the needs of program directors. Very important, and we appreciate that support. I am a department chair at Baylor College of Medicine in Houston, and I still am residency program director there. And I'm currently chair of the Residency Review Committee for Urology at the ACGME in my final year in that position. I'd like to introduce Ann Gormley, who is professor and residency program director at Dartmouth in New Hampshire. She's also president-elect of the New England section of the AUA. She's had experience on the exam committee of the AUA and currently on the core curriculum committee, and was extremely helpful in putting together the process for accreditation of the new specialty of female pelvic medicine and reconstructive surgery based on her content expertise within the Residency Review Committee. So Ann, thank you for that expertise, and thank you for being here. Introduce next Andy Meacham. Andy is the head of the Division of Urology at University of Colorado, where he's also residency program director. He's past president of the South Central section of the AUA and is now on the board of directors of the AUA, and is now vice chair of the Review Committee for Urology, and chair-elect will be succeeding me in the chair position. We're very fortunate to have John Potts with us from ACGME. I've known John for 20-plus years, really, in Houston before he went up to Chicago. John was program director of the Department of Surgery residency program at UT Houston for over 20 years, chaired the GME committee there for many years, so he's got extensive personal institutional leadership experience, was dean for GME and DIO at UT Houston, past president of the Association of Program Directors of Surgery, and also of the parent organization, the Organization of Program Director Organizations, and currently is the senior vice president for surgical accreditation at ACGME, where he's really brought together all of the surgical disciplines into a very cohesive working group to deal with issues of common concern to all surgical trainees. It's really been a wonderful contribution. I'd like to introduce Chuck Scales. Chuck is now assistant professor of urology at Duke, bringing to Duke both his expertise in stone disease from his residency with Glenn Preminger, but also tremendous expertise in patient safety and quality, having completed the Health Services Research Fellowship at UCLA with Mark Litwin. Chuck was a wonderful resident representative of the RRC during my early years on the committee, and based on the great respect that his peers had for him, became chair of the Council of Review Committee Residents, which is the body that works together with all of the resident representatives of all of the residency review committees. And under his leadership, there were many important changes that occurred in the Council of Review Committee Residents, which he'll give some summary information about. And he served in the board of directors of the ACGME in that capacity. And I should mention that succeeding Chuck as chair of the Council of Review Committee Residents is Tim Daskovich, who is the following representative for the as a resident on the Urology Residency Review Committee. So now we have two urology resident RRC representatives in a row who chaired the Council Review Committee residents. So it really is a great statement about the quality of the residents who are coming onto our committees. I'd like to acknowledge Mark Jordan. Mark recently moved from his senior faculty position at Rutgers, New Jersey, to UC Irvine, where he's now professor of urology and chair of the program at Long Beach VA and residency program director there. And Mark is here really supporting the faculty beautifully and representing the Society of Urology Chairs and Program Directors. Mark is currently president of the SUCPD, and I really want to personally thank Mark and the SUCPD for the tremendous support that they've provided for this program. I think the stipend that the SUCPD put forward to support travel to this program is tremendously appreciated and certainly supports our excellent attendance here. And the collaboration between AUA and SUCPD for this program, I think, is really superb, and we look forward to that continued close working relationship. And then finally, Byron Joyner, my co-chair for this program. Byron is a professor and program director at University of Washington. He's also associate dean for GME there, so he's got really a tremendous wealth and knowledge of institutional oversight experience. Byron is one of the very few urologists who is the recipient of the Parker Palmer Courage to Teach Award of the ACGME. It is the highest award that the ACGME gives nationally to recognize extraordinary contributions in GME teaching and leadership. And as I mentioned, Byron co-chaired the chair and program directors meeting here for the last 3 renditions and really did a wonderful job. And Byron also will be starting on the Residency Review Committee for Urology this year. It'll be a wonderful addition to the committee. So again, thank you to all the faculty for the work that you put forward in bringing the program together, and I really hope that you'll feel completely at liberty to approach all and any of us throughout the meeting and with your questions and comments. You know, my personal goal for this meeting, in addition to those formal program-specific objectives that Byron mentioned, is that every question of every person in the room gets answered while we're here. Any question about the nuances of your own program, the subtleties of the milestones, the changes in the next accreditation system, professional development opportunities, we really want every question to be answered for every participant. And I think that the focus here should be to emphasize the discussion and the interaction really even more than the formal presentations, because there's a lot of content expertise on the faculty, but there's just as much content expertise and experience and wealth of knowledge among the participants. Every one of you is an expert in urologic GME, and we value what everyone has to put forward in terms of this discussion. And then another objective for me personally is to be able to bring back to the ACGME and to the Review Committee for Urology your comments, concerns, questions about our accreditation functions, the structure of the committee, transparency, things that we can do better. So, you know, please feel free to bring up anything about the committee and the ACGME that you feel would be helpful for us to deliver, and we'd like to do so.